Do you dread selling because you feel salesy, you feel uncomfortable, you don't feel authentic? This is the episode that a lot of you have been asking me to do, talking about monetizing your ministry. How do I do that without feeling like a salesperson? This episode is the one you want to check out. Let's go.
Welcome to the Monetize Your Ministry podcast.
And you get a chance to interact with them. To me, that's full-time ministry.
Did I have to? Because tackle that business is like a feed. It brings in itself and then it opens.
I want to provide content and things that are going to help change lives, and I simultaneously want to receive a blessing from that.
Now here's your host, Kymone Hans.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm super excited that you're here. This is the podcast for you if you have a heart to serve others, which is ministry, what it's all about, but you want to have income so that you can do more of it and you can make even more impact. This is for you. So I want to just encourage you, if you have not already, to subscribe to this podcast, subscribe on YouTube, go to @Monetize Your Ministry on YouTube and subscribe. And if you're listening to this podcast on a podcasting channel, please make sure that you have subscribed so that you don't miss any of our episodes. Listen, this episode is one that is near and dear to me, talking about how to sell anything without feeling salesy, how to sell without feeling salesy. Now, my background is I worked as a pastor for 15 years. Before that, I went to school to study business, worked in that field for a while, then went into pastoring. Now I'm back in my own business. And I cannot tell you how many conversations I have with people who have something to offer to the world, who have something that can make a difference in the lives of others, but they are so afraid that they don't want to come across in the caricature that we make of salespeople, right? Slick, have something they want to get over on you. That picture that we make of salespeople, that they're not telling you quite the truth, and they don't want that. And maybe as you're watching this, you don't want that feeling either. Maybe that's what's been stopping you from getting started building your business. Well, I want to talk to you in this episode. Before I do, I also want to tell you that I'm hosting a free workshop. It is called How to Make Your First 5K in 60 Days. And all you have to do for that is go to mymworkshop.eventbrite.com. Grab your spot. I will walk you through how to get started. Because for a lot of us, we have ideas, we have all the stuff we're doing, but we're not making income. And this workshop will help you to take 3 simple steps to get started without a website, without paying for a lot of ads or any ads at all, and without having a huge social media following. So if that sounds like you, go check it out. Now, I want to hit the myth right up front. And the myth is simply this: if I sell, I won't be authentic anymore, or my integrity will be compromised. Come on. If that's you, if you're feeling me and you're watching this on a platform, just put yes in the comments. Let me know that you can relate. Say, that's me. That's me, Kymone. And here's why I wrote this sentence, because that was me. The truth is, I'm still battling that inner voice. You see, I remember being on a podcast. I was interviewing Eric Thomas, #1 motivational speaker. And he said that a lot of us, we have this mindset. I don't want it to be about the money. I don't want it to be about the money. I don't want to be about the money. And he interestingly said something super interesting. He said, those who don't care about the money, those are the people who need to go get the money. Those who are not in it for the money, those are the people who need to go get the money. Because his point was, if you have a heart for people and you don't really have the heart just to get money in any means necessary, when you do get money, you'll actually help people. You'll make a difference in the world. You will make an impact on others, and you will not compromise your morals. And that's what I want to just share with you. Selling is a part of life. In fact, even if you talk about, I don't want to sell because I'll be inauthentic, you sell every day. It's a part of life. It's where you are having conversations and interactions with others and trying to move them in the direction of what you think will be best for them. That might be in a relationship, right? Maybe it's to win the heart of that person that you love. Maybe it's selling your teenager, your child, someone in your life on why they should take certain steps toward bettering themselves. And so each and every day through persuasion, we seek to move people in a direction that will be for their best good. And the only difference that we're talking about when it comes to business is that there is an exchange primarily of money that comes with it, where we are trying to encourage people to make a decision that is still for their best good with their health, with their finances, with their relationships, with their personal development. And there is an exchange of currency, which really just shows that they value the thing that we're offering them. And so I want you to understand, you might be doing the same thing, offering someone to move in the direction that is the best for them. And maybe you've been doing it for so long, people have been exchanging their time for it. So you've sold them on the idea. Now, all we're asking them to do that's different than what you might have done before is to pay. And you might hear me say this and say this over and over. Nothing is wrong with you asking them to pay, because when people pay, they pay attention. And so I want us to look at selling in a light that's different. It's something we're already doing. And now we're just talking about how do we ask people to exchange not just time now, but money in a way that feels consistent with our morals, with a way that does not compromise our integrity, and in a way that will still be for their best good. All right. If that's something you want to learn, just let me know. Say yes in the comments. I'll put a like or a heart on this thing. Let me know that this is something you want to learn, because I want to share this with you. All right. How to sell without feeling salesy. That's what we want to talk about. So here's the first step that I want to give you, how to sell without feeling salesy. And this is number one: shift to serving, not selling. Shift your mindset to serving and not selling. All right. Let me talk about it, right? And this should be easy for people who are watching this Monetize Your Ministry podcast, because we say and we define ministry on this podcast as the thing you do to serve others best. And just for recap's sake, if this is your first time watching or listening, ministry isn't just confined to what you do in a church building or with people of faith, but ministry is sometimes found in the thing that you might have been doing for your job, doing for a hobby, doing just because you're good at it and you like helping people. That may be your ministry, right? Now, when we talk about monetizing, when we talk about selling, when we talk about this, how do we sell without feeling salesy? First step is we're going to go in with the mindset, with the goal of serving and not selling. Here is a question I have for you. Do you believe that what God has given you can actually help someone's life? Do you believe there's actually a couple that is right now trying to figure out something that God has given you the answer to? Do you believe that maybe there's a man, some man somewhere, who the solution you have, the answer you have, is exactly what he needs to make his family better? Do you believe there's someone struggling to get ahead with their career, and what you have learned about career development is what they need? Do you believe there's someone who might have some skin issue, is trying to need some product, and what you are building is the thing that would help them? Well, that's what I want you to think about. See, sometimes we miss that part of the process. Selling is actually helping. When you put something out there, you are making a difference in someone's life. And you not putting it out there is actually not allowing them to have the benefit of what you bring to the table. So what I want you to think about is, who is on the other end of this who needs what I have to offer? Who is the person who is standing in need of the encouragement that I'm going to bring to the table? Who's the person who's on the other end of the coaching that I bring? Who's on the other end of the product that I'm creating? And think about this. My goal is to serve them, and serve them to the best of my ability. I want you to think about that. I am here to serve this person. I am here to serve this community of people. I think about Kim Bulgin, who's someone who I've worked with, been part of my coaching program. Kim is so committed to serving women who are navigating the challenges of their spirituality and their sexuality. And she is saying, this is my community, and I'm called to serve them and serve them to the best of my ability. Now, as you think about that, some of you may say, well, just give it to them for free. Well, one of the things I want you to understand is a part of me serving you best is giving you an opportunity to participate in your transformation. Because when the transaction happens, the transformation starts. I show up better when I pay. I begin thinking I'm a person who's investing in myself. And so you serving your community, part of that is allowing them a chance to invest in their own transformation. So what I want you to understand and what I want you to take away from this is I'm going in saying, how can I serve them the best way? When I put together my programs, how can I serve them the best way? When I create that product, how can I serve them the best way? When I create that event, how am I serving them the best way? And I keep that mindset at the forefront. I don't start with what can I get from them, but I'm starting with what can I give them? What can I provide for them? And I'm always remembering that, yes, there is a price tag, but I'm always thinking, how can I serve them best? So that's step number one. How do I sell anything without feeling salesy? Number two, share your story. If you want to be able to sell without feeling salesy, share your story. Now, your story is your superpower. Shout out to Robert Kennedy III, right? RK3. That's Robert Kennedy, the motivational speaker, not the politician, right? RK3. He's been on my podcast, and you need to check him out. So here is what he talks about: your story is your superpower, and why I'm saying this. If you are now moving into the arena of sharing what you have to offer, one of the best ways to share that is through the power of your own story. Why is this product important to you? Why is this program important to you? Why is this service important to you? And I believe if you dig deep enough, and you may not have to dig deep at all, it has to do with your own personal story. Maybe it's because you went through a particular challenge, like my friend Joseph Nyamwange. Joseph went through being in debt, in over $100,000 of consumer debt, understood the stress of it. And every time he presents his offer to people, he presents it in the light of his story. He wants them to understand that I'm not just someone who is detached and does not understand what you're going through. I am sharing this with you. What I'm offering to you is based on the fact that I know what it's like. So anytime you are presenting your offers under the umbrella of I know what it's like, you move away from being a salesperson to being a fellow struggler, someone who can relate, someone who's been through it. I know what it's like to go through times when marriage is difficult. And that's why I am presenting this program to you. I know what it's like. My daughter, Joelle, I was on a workshop with her recently, and she provides body butters. And she said, I know what it's like to have dry skin. So I created this product. And the story you share, the message you're sharing in your story is as important or even more important than the product or the service or the event or whatever it is you're selling. So make sure you're leading with your story. Share your story over and over. Share it until you're tired of hearing your own story, and then share it some more, because that will be the first time someone hears it and they will say, that person understands me. That's someone I want to do business with. All right. So the first step in how to sell without feeling salesy is to shift your mindset from selling to serving. I'm serving this community. This is my community. I've been called to serve. Number two, share your story. And number three, educate before you sell. Educate before you sell. All right, I'm going to get into that one, but I do want to remind you that I do have the free workshop coming up. You go to mymworkshop.eventbrite.com. All right, let me talk about this one. Educate before you sell. I think there is a fear from a lot of us when we move into the space of business, right? We ministry minded, we've been helping people for a long time, and I'm talking to you. I know you've been helping people for a long time. I know they've been coming to you for help. I know you've been baking for them. I know you've been planning their event for them for free. I know you've been doing all of that. And then one of the fears is once I start transitioning to being in business and offering it for a price, what do I give away for free and what do I hold back? Because here is a fear that I have. One of the fears is if I give too much away for free, people won't pay me, right? Maybe you've thought that way. And one of the things I want you to understand, and I got this from a book, and the book is somewhere on my shelf now. So the name just escaped me and I can't remember it, but I'll peek over here, which is probably not the best thing to do while you're doing a podcast. But you can see this is authentic. Man, I can't remember the name, but the name of the book, and if I find it, I'll share it another time. The book talks about companies that are successful in this new day. What they do is they provide a lot of free education to customers. They help people to figure out answers before they even ask them to make an investment in what they have to offer. Now, you might think if I do that, people will not pay me because they can go do it on their own. And are there some people who will think that way? Absolutely. There's some people, when you give free knowledge, right, through a podcast, free knowledge through sharing it through a newsletter, free knowledge through maybe teaching something for free in a webinar, a workshop, a live event, a live free training. Some people will take that and say, okay, I can go do this on my own. I don't need your help. But others will realize, you know what? If I learned all of that from her for free, imagine what I'll get from her if I pay her. Imagine the transformation that will happen if I spent an hour listening to his podcasts. I spent an hour reading the free book that she gave. If I now invest in what she's selling, what can I get for free? Here's how simple it is. My daughter, she was giving away free knowledge on how to make your own body butter, and people would still buy from her because it gave them a level of confidence that she knew what she was talking about, and it's built up goodwill. When you educate your audience, you build up goodwill in them that says you are someone with a heart for service, right? Super important. You are someone that you care about us. And if I'm going to invest in someone, that's the person. Now, you understand that most people know that even if I kind of learn this thing on my own, I still need the guidance. I still need the feedback. I still need the accountability. I still need the attention that I can get from someone that can help me to actually put into practice the thing that I've been trying to do on my own, just watching videos. So here's the point I'm making. If you are going to be in a process of selling to people, do not be afraid of educating them, teaching them, giving free information. And that free information, right, here's the tip I'm going to tell you. Find a way to do it in a one-to-many version, right? Put out free content. Teach online in using your social media. Do maybe a podcast, right? And podcasting is so easy. You can just put on your camera and go live, right? Set up an email and send people free information, but do it in a one-to-many. Do a free event. Bring people in. Show them how you do what you do. And people love others who will educate them and show them the behind the scenes. All right. So those are my 3 steps. If you want to learn how to sell without being salesy, shift your mindset to serving and not selling. Share your story. Be relatable. Show them why you're not just someone who's asking for a sale, but someone who understands the struggle. And number 3, educate before you sell. All right. Those were the 3. If you benefited from this at all, here is my ask. First of all, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, because this podcast, I want to keep providing content that will help you to learn how to monetize your ministry, take what you serve others with best and move it out into the marketplace. Number 2 ask is share this episode with someone if it benefited you. And number 3, register for the workshop. Workshop is simple. It's how to make your first 5K in 60 days. Here is the graphic right here. Don't worry about that date. So it's how to make your first 5K in 60 days. And we'll talk about how to do it without a website, without a huge social media following, and without paid ads. All right. I want you to take what you learned from this episode. This episode, how to make sales, impact people's lives without feeling salesy. And you go put it into practice and increase your income and increase your impact. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the Monetize Your Ministry podcast with Kymone Hines. For more information, visit our website at www.monetizeyourministrypodcast.com. That's www.monetizeyourministrypodcast.com. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Please share this episode with someone who needs it. Let's increase our income and impact.